We have breaking news right now here at 9:43. We talked to our Nick Carboni about trade rumors for Lamelo Ball from the Charlotte Hornets. That can now be confirmed. And Nick joining us now as he's had an active last half hour. Nick, what can you tell us?
Well, hello again, Jane. Yes, I can tell you that the Lamelo Ball era in Charlotte, North Carolina is over. I've confirmed via league source that the Charlotte Hornets have traded Lamelo Ball to the Minnesota Timberwolves and as well as Josh Green for a return of big man Naz Reid and multiple draft picks. That's a 2023 first round pick, 3 second-round picks, and the teams will swap their first round picks in 28, 29, and 30. So the Hornets are betting on a lot of things here, and it's a big bet. They're betting that last season, a season of health for Lamelo Ball, was an outlier, that playing 72 games after barely scratching 100 games for the 2 or 3 seasons prior to that is not going to be the norm for Lamelo Ball and his ankles, which have been injured multiple times over the last couple of years and until last year had been a real issue for the all-star point guard and for this team. They're betting that they can still make progress, build off of last year's play-in appearance, and get to the playoffs despite not having the engine that made from January to April the best offense in the NBA go. They're betting that they will re-sign what was backup point guard Kobe White, who now slots into the starting point guard role after being traded for in midseason last year and being a pivotal part of that play-in appearance. They're betting that Naz Reid, coming in from Minnesota, fulfills that big-bodied, competitive and physical defensive type player that they need. They're also betting that they're going to have the advantage in those pick swaps in the future. Now the Hornets, they add another first-round pick with this. The pick swaps are a wash when it comes to numbers of picks, and they add 3 more second-round picks. They already had something like 14 second-round picks over the next 7 years, and after the first round the other night, they had 9 first-round picks over the next 7 years. So now it should be something like 10, and then the pick swap. So what I'm saying is they are betting that this treasure trove of picks will help them build the team going forward and also be pieces to use in future trades, whether that's this offseason or next, when they really think they can compete and make a deep run in the playoffs. But I think it's important, and I'm sure this was considered, to build off the momentum of last year, and doing it without Lamelo Ball is the biggest bet of all for this franchise right now.
Yeah, I mean, so are you surprised?
I'm honestly not totally, gobsmacked, I guess would be the word that comes to mind for me early in the morning here, early in my day anyway, but the day is going to be long for sure. We talked last half hour when these were still just reports and it hadn't happened yet, that Lamelo Ball's been the subject of trade, not just rumors, but reports for a couple of years now. He is somebody that I thought prior to this January would be more likely than not moved from this roster, but things really changed and took a turn for the better for his health, for his play, for the team's play from January to this past April. So I'm not sure anything surprises me anymore in sports, Jane, especially the NBA. In the last few years, we've had Luka Doncic be traded from Dallas. We just saw Giannis Antetokounmpo get traded from Milwaukee. Players you thought would be in those places for the entirety of their careers. Well, LaMelo Ball's lack of health, and there aren't issues, there are no legal issues, but there are questions about his commitment to playing winning basketball when it matters. I'm not totally stunned by this. I am a little surprised at the timing and about the bet the Hornets are making coming off the year they just had.
Yeah, we talked about timing, and it's just with the draft, and is this just noise, and is this just kind of a stunt? But yeah, the timing seems really interesting, Nick, because they had such a great season this year. So, what are you hearing? Anything from the locker room or the management yet, or is it too early?
It's too early. We won't see the guys in the locker room for months, but interestingly enough, were 2 events today, one which the Hornets ownership was scheduled to speak. It's more of a community event. It's happening soon, and our Danielle Stein is there. And the other was the draft pick press conference, which is scheduled for 1:00. And at that press conference, Hornets president of basketball operations, Jeff Peterson, who made this move, is scheduled to speak. Now, we'll see how much or if at all ownership or management discusses this. The league year does not begin until July 1st. We saw with the Mark Williams trade to the Los Angeles Lakers a couple of years ago. Just because we say there is a deal doesn't mean there's a deal yet officially. The league year needs to start. Business needs to actually be allowed to be made. Physicals need to be passed. Don't expect a physical won't be passed, but Lamelo Ball's had trouble with his ankles. Mark Williams, when he went to LA, was reviewed by LA doctors and deemed that he could not pass a physical because of his injury issues, and the trade was off. Maybe Minnesota gets a closer look at those ankles and somehow does the same thing. I don't think that will happen, but what I'm ultimately trying to say is, especially the president of basketball operations is going to be very hesitant to talk about this specifically. Perhaps ownership from a more of a 36,000-foot view is more willing to talk about why they did this, because Rick Schnall and Gabe Plotkin, the co-owners, are going to be very involved in a move like this. They're going to have to co-sign it. They're going to have to give Jeff Peterson the freedom to explore it in the first place. So we'll be very interested to see if any of these parties actually discuss this today or remain available to discuss anything.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I would think that's all that we, the media, Danielle, there want to discuss. So hopefully they know that they will be asked and ready to respond in some way.
Asked, which is why I'm wondering if they will be asked anything at all. But, I wouldn't be surprised if ownership discusses it today.
I'm kind of with mixed emotions myself. The face of the Hornets, and so I think there's sort of an emotional void that we're going to be a little hungover with here in the next few months.
Lamelo Ball is a globally popular player. When he got here in 2020, Jane, just to give you like an anecdote, I tweeted a blurry picture of him at his introductory press conference and tweeted a quote he had about going to Cookout for the first time. It got 1 million. So he is somebody that brought in a lot of new fans to the Hornets. Presumably those fans have been traded. We call them LaMelo stands to Minnesota now. And he brought a lot of attention to the franchise. It wasn't always good attention. He just settled the lawsuit for allegedly running over a child's foot after the Hornets' Purple and Teal Day within the last couple of years. He's been fined for cursing on live TV, which he has done multiple times. He had the car accident this year and have had a huff of a press conference after and wouldn't really answer questions about it. Nothing criminal, nothing to suggest that he's doing anything nefarious off the court, but the attention hasn't always been good, and he has been also criticized by a lot of national media for not being a quote-unquote winning player. Now, you can debate that all day. He didn't have winning players around him. Once he did, he started winning more. But even in that play-in game, he made an incredible shot to save the Hornets season and save that game, but that came after a awful turnover in crunch time. So I think all of those things are factored in. And so, like with a lot of sports stars we have had in Charlotte, he's been polarizing, whether you buy into the criticism or not. But a lot of fans, I think, who maybe weren't fans of his or thought maybe they would trade him 6 or 7 months ago, were not on board with doing that after the season he just had and the team just had. So they're going to have to wrap their heads around this, and the team is going to have to sell them on why this is a good idea going forward.
Yeah, regardless, a big personality. Who fills that role now?
Yeah, well, Kobe White was the player that they traded for mid-season last year. North Carolina native, former North Carolina Mr. Basketball, all-time leading scorer in high school hoops in the state. They get him from Chicago, and he immediately, after being a starter for the Bulls for years, willingly takes a backup point guard role. And he filled – before that, when LaMelo Ball was off the floor, the offense was horrible. when Kobe White came in, he was able to make the offense work when LaMelo was off the floor. Now, he was a free agent. He is a free agent now. Charlotte knew that when they traded for him, but thought they had a really good shot to keep him around. I think they do this knowing he will re-sign here. It also frees up money for him to re-sign. LaMelo Ball was making $40 million a year. I think the highest the Hornets were going to go for Kobe White was $25 million a year. Maybe this pushes it up a little higher now that he's going to be offered a starting role clearly. And the other night, the Hornets drafted a point guard. Wasn't with their first pick, they got a forward. With their second pick, they drafted point guard Christian Anderson, who were thinking, okay, he's the third ball handler. That's a valuable asset to a team. If Kobe White were to leave, he would step into the backup role. Well, now he is the backup. So they did that clearly with this in mind. They think they've got Kobe White in the bag. They know they have a backup point guard drafted, and now that frees them up to trade LaMelo Ball, which is clearly what they wanted to do, selling high on his season of good health and good fortune.
All right. Interesting insight once again, Nick. Thanks again for confirming the news. LaMelo Ball being traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves this morning. Confirmed. And I know you've got a long day, so we'll let you go and start it. Thanks again.
Yeah, it's incredible that this is happening, and it's I don't want to say fun to talk about, so a lot of people aren't going to be happy about this, but it's we're excited to bring you guys the latest all day and all night on WCNC Charlotte and here on the app too.